Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 694 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I am your host as always, Tyler. Joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Dude, there's been so much going on this past week, especially for today. But before all that, I wanted to show a little bit of the listeners that are looking in and stuff. I actually have a new shirt. I decided to
Okay.
get this freaking old WWF it's not old, but Walmart was selling these freaking WWF like shirts, like vintage ones from back
Is that
when, but
Batista?
it's kind of a weird one because it's like you see like Attitude Era wrestlers and all of a sudden you see Batista right
Is
in
that
the
a
corner of
is
my
that a
damn shirt.
possum between Kane and Batista?
What's that?
Is that a possum?
Is that a possum?
What's the thing between Kane and Batista?
You know what's funny? It's like it's their. I didn't notice this before. Those are fucking like their shoulders, like right in the middle of things. So it's supposed to be the head of Stone Cold Steve Austin, like right down here.
Yeah, but like right above Stone Cold Steve Austin's head, it looks like a dog or a possum's head. It's just their
I know,
shoulders.
right?
Huh. Okay. This whole
It is.
time
It is
I've been like,
actually the shoulders of Kane and Batista.
okay, for audio listeners, I'm sorry, but I've been sitting here staring at it this whole time. Gables and I've been on Discord, and I'm like, what the fuck is that between Kane and the Batista? I thought, like, why is there a dog there? I thought maybe it was that one dog that Big Boss Man killed and fed to Al Snow, but
Oh my God. Oh God. I forgot the name of the dog now, but
yeah, me too.
ugh. But anyways. Yeah, like I was saying though, today is pretty much kind of like a bit of a big day to me. I had to go to like a Saturday like doctor's appointment, like in the town of Silverdale, Washington, and I got checked out and everything else was all good, but I also did quite a bit of shopping in terms of the stuff too. So I stopped to a couple different like places. I went to a Goodwill. It's funny because it's like I've never been inside like a large Goodwill. And there was like a ton of people. This Goodwill had its own security guards and stuff. It had its own like actual like bits of like people that are ushering in stuff. And what was hilarious about this is that the moment you walk into this Goodwill, you have a local author inside of his initial sit down wheelchair that he has. Like he has actually like a crutch or something like that. Like he had one of those little push carts and stuff he was sitting on to try to, he's because he's a bit tired and stuff from standing and this and that. He had a table and his books all displayed inside of like initial things. And what's funny is like when my cousin was going through and paying for her stuff, I was just waiting for her and stuff and just listening to this dude explaining the plot of his own book to a customer. It's stuff like that. It's like, yeah, but she doesn't know this is happening, and this that and this and this. It was it was probably one of the most like kind of like surreal moments itself. It's like, dude, if people are interested in your book, you don't have to tell them the initial plot points of this book, you know?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just weird stuff like that was initially happening. But
Okay, I want to
inside there, I found,
Gables. Can I set this up for people?
yeah, what's up?
Okay, so during the week, Gables and I were talking, and we got a little bit of an argument. And we made a bet
Yeah.
that Gables feels like, and I don't think he can, but he thinks he can, and I'm really doubting it. But he's gonna try it. He thinks he can eat a
Mhm.
whole rotisserie chicken during our podcast. I don't think he can do it. So
I,
in this
I,
bag he has here is a whole rotisserie chicken, and he's gonna eat it. And I was nice, and I will allow him to have napkins and use sauce. So to help
it kind
guide
of
it
does
down.
look like I got a huge rotisserie chicken in my back, doesn't
Gables,
it?
I thought you were going to show me a rotisserie chicken when you show me the bag. I don't know what's in the bag. For people who don't know
Oh yeah,
that,
nobody knows what's in the bag besides me at this moment in time. But
yeah, could be a head. We don't know.
so
Could be the author's head. Did you buy the author's
what's
book?
hilarious about okay, so
Oh God.
one thing I did. All right. So throughout this trip inside of Goodwill, I looked everywhere, and I ended up finding a knit cap and stuff for the San Francisco Giants, a skull
Okay.
cap. I have that in the laundry, but I did find two games, and two
Oh.
games in really good condition, right? So I ended up finding a copy of Gran Turismo 3, a spec
Okay.
for the PS2,
Okay.
and I actually found a physical good copy of Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, nice. Insane trilogy.
Exactly. The
All right.
friggin' insane trilogy and stuff for the PS4. And
Gotcha.
what was really wild about this game section that they had, this little miniature game section, there was a couple of PS5 games. There was literally Resident Evil 4 remake inside this goddamn Goodwill.
Nice.
And it wasn't even locked behind glass or anything. It was on a separate shelf that was like almost close to the damn ground,
Huh.
right? And so you have all these Xbox One games, all these 360 games, and these Wii games that hardly ever sell, and all of a sudden you have a couple of PS3 stuff, and then you have a couple of PS5 games like Battlefield 2042 or something like that, and like friggin' Resident Evil 4 remake. But after we got done and stuff like that, we went over to a couple other different places, and this is going to be probably one of the more expensive things I'm going to show right here. So
Okay.
we went to a store, this retro game store by the name of Big Reds, right? And
Me?
so Big, it's called Big Reds, but this is probably one of the largest video game like retro video game things like inside the city here of Silverdale. And they had everything, dude. They had all sorts of various consoles. They had imports, Sega Saturns and stuff. They had all these different Dreamcast games, NES, like Genesis, PlayStation stuff. I did find copies of say games like Tenchu, like the original Tenchu and stuff like that. Soul Blade. I saw like all these import the Super Nintendo games, like the Super Famicom stuff, like Dragon Quest Six for the
Ooh.
Super Famicom, this and that. But a lot of their expensive games was behind the counter, boxed games. There was a boxed copy of Ogre Battle March of the Black Queen for Super Nintendo for $600.
Ooh. Did you buy it?
No, I didn't
Okay.
buy that.
Okay.
So for the camera and for the listeners listening in, the first game I'm going to show Tyler is the least expensive game. So I bought a couple Sega Genesis games.
Okay.
I bought the original Shining Force
Oh,
for
nice.
Sega Genesis. And one thing I asked them about, they actually put new batteries
Oh,
inside of these carts.
yeah.
So not only do they refurbish and do a lot of the various games stuff, they actually take the time to solder a lot of those particular batteries into the carts themselves. So that way they'll still work and all this other stuff. And so the next game I found and I bought was Contra Hard Corps.
Nice. Nice.
Dude, I've been playing that game like little bits at a time for that on my PS5 and stuff, and I wanted my own copy of Contra Hard Corps. I have the original Contra. I don't have Contra 3 for Super Nintendo, but I want to make an active effort to get like the Contra games. And so I saw this was like pretty much the only one I could find though. I saw Neo Contra for PS2, but that one I didn't want. But the last game, and it's probably one of the best conditioned ones I had found, this is for the PlayStation, the original. I found my copy of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
Wow.
And dude, I spent like about $200 on all three of this damn
Damn.
stuff. But man, I'm so happy I found games that I want to play from that damn store. But man, they had all sorts of like things. They had a boxed copy of Resident Evil 2 for the 64. They had like various NES games and stuff, like some of the more higher expensive games you would think were like locked behind the case. Slew of Sega Game Gear, Game Boy Color, like Game Boy Advance games. They had like all sorts of various stuff. And so to end my trip, my cousin and I, we both went to a Barnes and Noble, one of the Barnes and Noble stuff, and I actually found graphic novels to a couple of series I did
Oh.
initially have that I started collecting in high school. So I actually found a couple different volumes I haven't seen like in over 20 years in this Barnes and Noble. So, and then the last thing I ended up getting though was a little plush of Totoro.
Oh, nice. Okay. Very cool.
But to put things to perspective for people and stuff, I rarely travel off of the peninsula because of the fact that I take care of adult parents at home and I don't get a lot of time and effort since I work two full-time jobs essentially, my own job and at home. So getting away and actually enjoying myself, doing a doing like these type of escapades, which my cousin and I were talking, and we are talking, thinking about potentially doing more of these type of escapades like in the future.
Yeah.
As I was looking up the general area for that initial section around that initial area, and there's a couple of like retro video game stores around there. So I am so like excited to try to schedule things in the future. But yeah, that was my initial Saturday. I went to a huge retro game store. I found a whole bunch of different stuff, and my main goal for is to try to try to build up my Sega Genesis and my PS1 collection, because ever since I got those initial like PS1 games from my workplace with Siphon Filter, Tomb Raider, and all this other stuff, it pretty much inspired me thinking, okay, I need to build myself a good PS1 collection that I can go back and play. But other than that, though, I mean, it's everything else has pretty much been like the same. Like work's been kind of crazy, hit or miss stuff. Like other than that, video game stuff's been pretty cool. But that's pretty much it for me this week. But Tyler, I know that you've been going through a bit of sickness stuff. So how
Yeah.
have you been doing, dude?
Sorry, I clear my throat. Sorry, I didn't mean to do it on the microphone. I'm doing okay. Yeah, the last couple days, I just been getting sick. Everybody at my family's house has gotten sick, and I go over there fairly regularly, so it's kind of time for me to get hit with it. So the last couple days, I've been um, feeling a little under the weather right now. I'm all jacked up on some Dayquil and Pepto Bismol. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm not drinking tonight. I do apologize. That's why Gables is eating a rotisserie chicken to make up for it. Um, but I am drinking my I have my water bottle here. I have my Charizard water bottle. So because I'm a big boy. So yeah, that's what I'm drinking right now because it's the only thing that I could drink right now that doesn't feel like if I'm swallowing a bunch of needles right now. So I'm a little congested. I apologize if I'm trying not to breathe too loudly or heavily into the microphone. So I do apologize if it's picking up. I'll do my best to fix that and edit. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing okay. But no way to top all the cool stuff that Gables did. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess Gables, I went to GameStop and I finally traded in
Yeah,
my PS5 because I got that Slim I found for $300 a couple months ago. I finally went traded in. Funny,
good.
I bought my Slim for 300, and I traded in
Huh?
my launch edition of my PS5 for 315. So, um,
You make profit from your
yeah,
old PS5. That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. So basically, I was able to upgrade, and not bad. But considering I bought the thing for $500 over 5 years ago, and I turn around and sell it in less than basically under $200, for over 5 years of service out of that thing. Though I didn't,
Hmm.
they had a little buy two get one free for Funko Pops. So I bought some Funko Pops, but they're on the other side, but not too crazy. They got like a Superman one. Um, they had the Home Alone Harry and Marv ones,
Yeah.
and a couple other ones. I got some Detroit Pistons. One, I'm a Pistons fan. But Gibbles, I did have to buy. I got a little Chikorita. Yeah,
Oh, that looks so cool.
yeah. So yeah, for audio listeners, I got a little Chikorita action figure. He's a little figure. He's not. It's not a Funko Pop, but yeah, I got that. So not too crazy collection wise. That's about it. I'm trying. I need to stop buying shit because like I'm so overgrown my apartment and my shelves are overflowing. Like I literally don't have room on my shelves for any more shit. And I found some like cool like collector like shelves you can buy that are like really cool
Yeah.
glass ones or ones you can hang up. But it's like I don't plan on being here for too much, like another like 8 9 months.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't
that's
really want to invest in that stuff. As I move to a new place, hopefully next spring or probably hopefully next August September, my lease is up. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. I mean, not too crazy. But Gables, let's jump into some of the news going on right now. Actually, before we get to the news,
mm,
the rigmarole. I almost forgot the rigmarole. If you like the show, like what we do, please like, follow, subscribe. We're just two guys that just do this for fun. I'm Tyler. That's Gables. Like I
mhm.
said, we don't do this as a job. We just do this for the fun of it. So if you want to support us, sorry, I cannot breathe through my nose. So I'm trying to breathe through my mouth and talk at the same time. It's really hard to do. Anyways, if you guys like the show, like what we're doing, normally when we're fully healthy, I'm drinking and not so sick of breathing so loudly. But we do have, we're on YouTube. Every podcast service, like, follow, subscribe there. 5-star reviews, click the thumbs up, all the buttons you can click to help us out. We really appreciate it. And if you could go on our YouTube, honestly, the best place to help us out is on YouTube. Help us out. And if we don't make money off of this, but if you guys would like to, we do have a membership. It's just $1 a month. We don't really have anything to give you for, but it's just a way to say, hey, thank you, like what we're doing, and it makes us feel good to see those numbers go up. And maybe Gills and I could buy some coffee every now and again. We are gamers, so we like to stay caffeinated. But Gables, let's jump into some of the stuff going on. Not too much news. I think we're like, I was talking about the last week's show that I was gonna do a live react for the PlayStation State of Play. I ended up falling asleep and totally forgot about it. And I pulled up YouTube and I just see all these trailers. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And so I basically spoiled myself. But I'm kind of glad that happened, because it would have been a really bad State of Play. Because I'm like, it did not. I think Gables and I both kind of came with it like, not really a lot of coming out of that one. Not too newsy. Honestly, the biggest news was like the Japanese only PS5. But Gables, I think one of the more fun things we got going on right now is the Game Awards nominees are coming up. We're gonna get those on Monday. The reveals for all the nominees.
Right.
We're not gonna go category by category, because that's gonna take like 4 hours, and some
True.
of those awards are kind of crazy. But we always go through and we try to guess the 6 nominees. Every year there's always 6 nominees for the Game of the Year. And Gables, I did promise I was gonna send it to you. I'm gonna do that right now.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. For 1 second.
So basically, you and I are just gonna pick like 6, probably
we're
6.
gonna.
Like,
So this is like I kind of made a list. Just kind of like I kind of looked up OpenCritic, and I was like, all right, what's some of the bigger games that could potentially work here? I have like 3 that I think are locks. And 2 I think are for sure locked. The third one I feel pretty comfortable about. 3 of them: Expedition 33, Hollow Knight, Silksong, Hades 2. Would you have any quibbles with any of those?
I wouldn't have any quibs with any of those 3. Expedition 33, excellent game. I haven't had a chance to play, but I know Silk Song's good. I know Hades 2 is good,
Mm-hmm.
from what you've told me in terms of Hades 2. As far as anything else so far, I think Split Fiction kind of probably deserves to be inside that conversation, because I know you and I had quite a bit to play in terms of like Extra Life. I know we
Yeah,
still need to finish that one before the year ends here.
yeah. The only thing I wonder is like, I feel like It Takes Two was like, just a phenomenon, and like also 2021 was kind of a downer year there, for like big games. The one thing maybe is like Split Fiction kind of feel like it like came and went a little bit. So
Yeah,
like I'm like, all right, I'm pulling it up into like the maybe pile here. I don't know if there's
that's a good idea.
any of these other Jenga pieces you want to try to pull on here. Uh,
I know one thing I probably wouldn't put for like the game of the year consideration be Monster Hunter Wilds.
yeah,
And part of the reason why I think so is because other than the first initial burst of that game releasing and like selling the 10 million, this and that and stuff like that, there's been a lot of like various discourse, not only for the initial PC version of the thing, but there hadn't been a hell of a lot of interest post launch to the fact to where you basically have like older Capcom games that are really much outselling Monster Hunter Wilds currently, even like on game like places like Steam and stuff.
mm,
So I think pretty much this game pretty much is a good example of the game released. There was a lot of popularity on launch, and then it just came and went.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's kind of like the main crux why I don't think it's game of the year. On the other hand, for another game I think that could be potential for game of the year, oh my gosh, I think Donkey Kong Bonanza could be one
yeah.
of
That
that stuff because the experiences that you go through and that stuff. It's probably the strongest like family friendly game on this list. And you know how when it comes to game of the year stuff, there's always at least one particular Nintendo game that does happen to pop on these initial things, if not for game of the year, but just for like say something in general. And this is probably the strongest Nintendo game release in the year.
yeah. I'm willing to put that one in lock. I feel pretty comfortable about it. It was definitely
Yeah.
like, of like the rest of the list I had here, that was like the closest I had to like when I was putting this together. I'm like, I felt pretty good about putting that as a lock, but I'm like not 100% on that one. So, but I'm like, all right, we'll put that into the lock category here. So we're at 4 now. So we still got 2
Right.
more. Any more from we got sitting here that maybe you're thinking about?
I'll be perfectly honest with you, Tyler. I mean, a lot of the games that I'm seeing here are pretty much some of the ones that you've had a chance to really play, like say Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, and
Mm.
stuff. Both of us haven't really vested into like say Dispatch or Arc Raiders or even like I know Blueprints. I've heard good things about that puzzle game, but I'm not entirely sure. So, what were
Yeah.
your thoughts though?
So I felt really high about. I really thought like Arc Raiders is actually another one I thought was gonna be a lot. So Dispatch and Arc Raiders were two I was really thinking about. The downside with those ones is, from what I understand, is that like they kind of people like the people that like nominate games, they had to turn their nominations in at the end of October, and unfortunately at that point,
Ah,
Dispatch only half the season was out at that point. Arc Raiders I think came out like October like 30th or something like that. So reviewers hadn't like I don't even think like review copies had fully even been out yet. So like I'm kind of like I'm
oh,
honestly like I made this list before I knew about that. So I'm kind of eliminating those now because of that reason. Kind of an unfortunate timing
right.
situation. Um, so like the rest I'm looking at here, like I feel like Blueprints is one of those things where like it's gonna be one of those like kind of like there's gonna be like a audience. There's gonna be a good chunk of audience. Like there's a hardcore fan base for that game. But it's one of those things. Sometimes like you gotta look at too with these is like it is kind of a little bit of a popularity contest where like Blueprints is such a niche category of a game where like it might be individually
Hmm.
better than the majority of these games. Like when people were like comparing them 1 to 1, but it's just like not as many people played it as these other ones.
Right.
And like the people that played it loved it. But it's like I'm kind of eliminating. I think because of that reason, just because like to be fair, neither one of us has played it. It's not a game that I'm really interested in checking out. Um, I feel pretty good about Death Stranding 2, honestly. Making the list, I
Hmm.
like Death Stranding 1 made it, and that surprised me. I know it was. I think it was that was 2019. 2019 wasn't like the greatest year, but I feel like of the list here, that's probably the best one. Um, I don't like. I really loved Ghost of Yotei. I do. Um, I am a little curious, like, if it maybe makes that list. I want to open back up. I'm gonna go back open to Open Critic here, and I'm just gonna. I just want. I don't know, cause like, not that I'm poo-pooing the game here, but like, I'm just like,
Right.
I want to just kind of double check before we kind of lock in here. So like, of like the bigger games that came out this year that are like new, like there's some like remasters and stuff like that. Like Hades, 2 is the highest rated one. Clay Obscura, like we already talked about, Dunkirk Bonanza, Silk Song, Split Fiction is actually like I think like the sixth best rated game of the year. It
Wow.
surprised me, but like I don't know, it just kind of feels like it came and went. But obviously, I think it came out like it came out early March, so um, it's funny. Like Monster Hunter Wilds is also like it's like ninth, I think, for the year. Oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 maybe is another one here I'm looking at. Um,
Ah, yeah. I've heard good things about that. It was like one of
yeah,
the first big games of the year.
yeah, that came out in like early February, so I think that's part of the reason too. It had kind of had its own time to shine there. I'm just kind of like running through here. Um, as far as like bigger games, and I don't, man, maybe it is. It might be because like as far as like there's a lot of like higher ranked games with the like remasters or ports and stuff like that. Like, um, I mean, I don't know. We think about like Mario Kart World.
Mario Kart World, I think, is more of like I don't think it's like a game of the year kind of contender. I think it's more of like one of the better like Nintendo games released this year, but I think it's going to be more or less inside that family friendly sort of category.
Yeah, yeah,
I if I had to choose between Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, I'm going with Bonanza pretty much almost in the
yeah,
entire time because that's more of a full-fledged personal experience than opposed to Mario Kart World, which is going off of the success. It's the next game that's released after the success of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and all the total package stuff that that game had, and then having this game release, and it was okay. It was there, and there was some lukewarm reaction to it, especially with the price point when it first was announced with $80. That turned off a bunch of people.
yeah.
So I would think that I'd much rather go with Bonanza than World.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of just looking through here. Yeah. The only other thing I was thinking about is maybe Silent Hill F. Um,
Hmm.
is a potential there, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's either gonna be um, Ghost of Yote or Split Fiction. Um, I don't know. I guess personally, I think I would between those two, I'd say Ghost of Yote. Just I feel like it's probably the bigger game of the two. And it's more recent too. That does help. There's sometimes
Hmm.
there's that recency bias where it is kind of the issue sometimes when some of those games come out early in the year and like and like sometimes like you play a game more recently and it just obviously it's gonna stick with you. Um, you know,
Right.
so I'm gonna say Ghost of Yote for that sixth spot, but it's definitely one of the ones I
Okay.
feel the least confident in of those. Would you disagree there?
Well, you know what? I wouldn't really disagree with that initial logic in terms of that stuff. So, are you telling me in terms of the list that we got going here? So it's like Expedition 33, Silk Song, Hades 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, then oh god, Death Stranding 2,
Yep.
and Ghost of Yote.
Yes.
Yeah, I would be firmly comfortable with that list because that sounds like it could be the actual list.
Okay.
In my personal opinion, I think that probably there's going to be one of those games. Now, I feel like this is something that we definitely can cement being the final one, but yeah, watch it being like it being announced and stuff, and then just like say Expedition 33 goes missing or like some of that
Yeah.
sort,
That would be
some
insane.
weird
I don't see
stuff.
that one happening.
I know,
That's like to
I
me
know. I'm
like
not
the
saying it
first
will,
lock.
but
Yeah.
it's the Game Awards, right? And so
Yeah.
you have various companies that are pretty much promoting and sponsoring a lot of these different things. So it
Yeah.
would be insane, but also it would be not too surprising for Game of the Year contention.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, there I'm like, all right, we need. There's some fraud here. If expedition or to me, it's like if Silk Song or
Exactly.
expedition is not a list, I'm like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? We need to recount.
I think the lock games like Expedition 33, Silk Song, or Hades 2, if any one of those three are not in that Game of the Year list, people are going to call fraud.
Yeah. The only thing I was wondering about with the KDs 2 is because it was an early access for a little over a year, so I do wonder if maybe that might mess with it a little bit, but I still feel fairly confident that it's going to make it. That's the only thing. That'd be
Right.
the only logic I could see of it not making it on the list. But I don't know. I'm pretty excited about this is gonna be a fun one because like I feel pretty confident about five of the like I feel like most of the time we do this, we get five of the six right, and it just always feels like that sixth spot is always like there's always like two or three locks, and then there's always like all right these two we feel pretty confident about, and there's always like I always feel like okay there's like eight other games that could be in that sixth
Yeah.
spot, and I really feel like there's like yeah like Ghost of Yote, Split Fiction, Silent Hill F, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I feel like there's a decent amount of games that could make that. I will say if Mario Kart World makes it, like I try not to get too bothered by. It's very rare that I see this. I'm like, what? Like I try not to get like question it too much. I feel for most time I feel like that's a pretty decent list. Like you can always like, oh, was there snubs here? There's always gonna be snubs, especially like I don't. I feel like this is pretty like deep year. I don't know if this is like maybe I'm not gonna say this is like one of the greatest years ever for video games. I feel like we've had a lot of really great years for gaming. Like 2023 was like there's people like saying we should have 12 games in the game of the year list, and it's like
I
you could have made the argument
right.
that year, and it's like there's still been snubs. So there's always every year's gonna be snubs, but like this
I
year is
think
like
what we can be argued with in terms of like say if we want to talk about depth, I think the quality of indie games and stuff is pretty deep in comparison to
yeah
at least the past 5 years, in my honest opinion.
yeah this will be a
So
really
I
good
think that's
year.
going to be a real good year for a lot of these indie games. You have some of the major ones that have released this year, like with Silk Song, with freaking like Hades 2. I mean, even games like Dispatch and stuff
Yes,
like that. Just
Dispatch, uh,
so much good stuff
Blueprints.
that came out this year to the indie scene.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean there's
Blueprints.
yeah I mean that's gonna be I'm gonna feel bad for like for there almost needs to be like two categories for indie games. Like that's my biggest complaint with like the categories is like there's just not enough diversity in the like the games and like I feel like sometimes we just keep seeing the same games over, which I understand is gonna happen. My always thing with it is like I kind of wish they made more broader categories to get more games included into it. Like
Right.
I'm fine with like having like I can live with action and action adventure even though I think they're an RPG even though I feel like there's like so much crossover in video games nowadays where it's like okay like you kind of like okay this is
Yeah.
quibble like okay this is an action game but it's also an action adventure game. This game has RPG mechanics in it. I just wish there was more different kinds of categories and like I'm not like I get like
Yeah.
there's only like even like a half dozen that even go up on the stage to celebrate. So to me, it's just like you can when they do like the thing and they do 10 awards at once, you can throw in another half dozen awards. Because I feel like so many times over and over again, it's like there's like 15 categories and there's like 30 different games that we actually see on these.
Yeah, I'm a fan, like I say, they add different different categories to some of these type of award shows, but what I don't want to see really is just specific niche categories and stuff that are
Mm,
only certain games and stuff. Like say having a roguelike category or having a Metroidvania type
yeah,
category or something like
or
that
like best
because of
fighting
how
category
often,
can be pretty
well,
bad
best fighting
sometimes.
category, I know sometimes that category can be pretty bad because you only have maybe one or two major fighting games released. I think for this year we had basically like Fatal Fury, I think it was not Fatal Fury, but
That one reviewed pretty well.
my God, yeah, Fatal Fury reviewed too well, and I mean it reviewed well and stuff, but yet in the other types of fighting game releases, like say actual new fighting games that are this year, there really wasn't a lot of major
Yeah.
things that were going to release in time. I mean, Tokon is just going to be released in December, so that's not going to count for the reward show.
Well, next year. It comes out next year.
And next year it
Yeah,
would,
the
yeah,
beta's next in December. Uh,
yes,
yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of like, or like, all right, some years where it's like, okay, like I'm fine with like, okay, best sports slash racing. I get like, okay, put the
hmm
even though it's kind of stupid because it's just like it feels like halftime is just FIFA that wins it anyways. Because you gotta remember
yeah,
this, it's so broad. Like, it's a worldwide category. I think a good chunk of the voters are like in the UK and like European and stuff like that. So, um, that makes sense why that's always in there, even though like people feels like everybody's mad about it, which is like the going
mm,
rate for annual sports games. But I don't know, I'm pretty excited for it. I think this will be a. I feel like most years are pretty fun, like for the categories, and Gables and I will probably be doing a prediction podcast either probably next week. I think it's we got a
hmm
couple weeks before that, so maybe Gables and I
yes,
we might do that. Maybe we'll like I don't know, we might do that in a couple weeks actually. We'll just see how much news there is next week and go from there
yeah.
for it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Feel so. We're good with Expedition 33, Silk Song, Hades 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Death Stranding 2, Go COT.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I feel confident that's going to be the list.
All right. I can't wait. It's kind of fun sometimes to be wrong, and I'd be excited to see maybe what kind of makes that sixth spot there. All right, Gables. Let's move on here to kind of another little fun thing here. Valve just kind of being a little crazy again. They announced not one, not two, but three brand new devices of for them. They have announced a new Steam controller that looks pretty cool. It looks like
Mm,
kind of looks more like it's more like a PlayStation controller, but then they have like the little pads on below that. But then they also announced a new VR headset called the Steam Frame, and it's wireless and everything. It almost looks like ski goggles. And then I think kind
mm,
of the bigger thing here, the big news here is the Steam machine has making a comeback, but this time it's actually like Steam or Valve themselves making it. A lot of people are calling it on
mm.
the internet the Gabe Cube, and it basically just looks like a bigger GameCube, just missing the handle. But Gables, I mean, I don't know. We've seen this. They're saying it's about 6 times the power of a Steam Deck. I believe they said there's going to be two different models at launch. One that's 500 gigabytes. The other one's going to be 2 terabytes. There will be like a micro SD card slot in the front there that you can plug it into. We don't have a price
Mm.
yet. They did say we'll hear some information and early next year, and it should be coming out in the first early. Sounds like the first half of next year is when this thing should be releasing. So, I mean, Gills, what's kind of your thoughts and opinions about seeing this bad boy?
All right. So in terms of this Valve Steam Deck, this new Steam Deck, this Cube,
Steam Machine.
I know, right? This I really do like this device. This looks like it is well done professionally. I haven't seen a lot of the specs yet. I have not seen a lot of the different price things. My God, that thing, if that thing is under say $700 and stuff, I'm gonna be fucking impressed with this shit, dude.
Mm.
Because from what they're saying, it's more powerful than a lot of the things. The Steam Deck has like expansion bays and stuff like that for memory, has that interface and everything else that Steam has been working on and stuff for years and stuff. Having that type of flexibility inside your living room to where you can just basically you don't even have to have a Steam Deck. You don't have to do anything crazy. You just have a pretty much like a plug into your TV PC
Mm-hmm.
and stuff and do whatever you want with it. You can actually do the because of how flexible Steam is with a lot of their operating systems and a lot of the different things. You could probably play a lot of your emulated games and stuff like from what you've done on that initial device itself, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
part of the reason why a lot of people are so interested in this stuff. But I really like it, and quite honestly, it makes me want to actually get this type of Steam, like the Steam machine here. But I'll tell you what I really like, even more so than the console, is that controller,
mm,
and it's for one reason: that Hall effects sticks,
yeah,
those Hall effect joysticks. That's something that we as gamers we've been wanting Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo to do because we're so sick and tired of stick drift.
yeah,
There should be no reason why we have to spend $70 to $80 for a piece for one controller that's going to last us barely for a few years because of the fact that the controllers, the analog sticks, are dirt cheap. They don't want to invest the time and effort to do like what the Dreamcast did with Sega and the Dreamcast over 20 some odd years ago.
yeah. That's crazy.
I know, right? The Hall effect stuff was one of the pioneering things of that Sega for what Sega did with the Dreamcast back when. And it's so crazy and so greedy that companies took until now with Steam actually implementing it,
Yeah,
that controller is going to be very much sought after. And I could really see that controller being over $100, dude,
yeah,
because the demand for a good quality controller of that magnitude is deep. And I don't care what type of initial price of it is. If I have that alongside of that Steam machine or something like that, I'm good. I mean, for God's sake, it's like if I had to have a choice between the next PlayStation, the next Xbox, and then that initial Steam machine stuff, I'm going to be going to that Steam machine because it's going to be easier for me to use. The controllers, I don't have to worry about like future proofing it and stuff by buying literally how many different types of PlayStation controllers or Xbox controllers
yeah.
because of
Right.
the off chance my damn joystick is going to be it's going to end up like freaking Swiss cheese because I played one too many games of Madden or I played one too many games of Fortnite or whatever the hell.
You know, you just got a bad luck taking it out of the box. Yeah, it's like I think
Oh, I know.
I think between my Joy Cons, my PS5 controllers, and my Xbox Series controllers, I've invested enough that I could probably just bought the Steam machine by now.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the problem. When you're buying so many controllers that it now equals the equivalent of the price of paying for a modern PlayStation 5, you have a problem here.
Yeah, yeah. Though it's like just
But
recently I finally upgraded to like a DualSense Edge and a Xbox. What the fuck's the crazy
Elite
expensive
controller.
Elite controller? Yeah, like I'm sick and tired of spending all this money. I spent hundreds of dollars on buying new controllers. I'm just gonna spend the money and buy the good ones. So
What's hilarious about that is like I did almost the exact same thing as you did, only the reverse. I bought two additional controllers, a red one and a blue one. I bought a new PS5 and stuff like that because I wanted to like refresh my PS5 because I put like about pretty much 4+ years of use every day of the other console and stuff. And part of the reason being I got all these extra controllers now is because this damn stick will not go and do like it's supposed to be doing
mm-hmm.
because breakdown. But I don't have to worry about it with the Steam controller here because those controllers, the easy to use interface of it. Sure, you got touchpads in the bottom of the damn controller you can use for like mouse interface and stuff, so things are going to be super precise. And even if not, there's always options with Steam in terms of like a lot of the playability of stuff. Like you can use a freaking mouse and keyboard if you wanted to on
Yeah,
this
and
initial thing if you really wanted.
and like they said you can use like the 8-bit do controllers and everything as well. So
Right.
yeah,
I know the one thing I'm kind of questioning in terms of hardware wise is like their next like initial what looks like a VR headset or something that they're doing.
The Steam frame. Yeah,
The Steam frame. Okay,
yeah,
so it's not full on like actual VR. It's like the Steam frame. It's basically you have a freaking TV like
yeah.
around your freaking like glasses and stuff and playing
And
that way.
I believe they did
I have
say too
questions
that like
about that.
you can play all your games in it as well. So
Uh-huh.
it won't necessarily like turn them in VR, but you can play them on it. So it will have your Steam library in there.
Dude, if I could just see people like with kind of like what they're doing now with some of those VR headsets going on to like oh my that what oh god, what the hell is it called? Like Anime VR or something like that, or whatever
Oh,
the hell that popular interface is. VR chat, like say on
okay.
Steam, and just using their freaking controllers, just doing various motions and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, but I think it's a novel idea. But I really do have the questions in terms of the quality of the frames themselves,
Yeah.
as well as eye strain. Because the initial thing, if you have those type of monitors like that close to your face, that close to your eyes and stuff, that's gonna get exhausting like after a while, like say after an hour of use. So
Yeah.
I'm really questioning in terms of the quality of what they're gonna use for this initial like headset.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. But my main thing is I've tried VR several times, and I'm just one of those people that just get sick from using it. So like to me, I've just kind of given up on it,
Mm,
and I'm kind of surprised they're doing another headset with this thing because I feel like um, VR just kind of seems like at its lowest it's been since it's like probably ever really. The
hmm
last year or two, especially like after like the Apple's one they just did last year kind of as like a major flop. The
Yes.
PSVR 2 was a major flop. I don't know. It seems like the Valve Index is like um, I don't know how it did, but it doesn't seem like it was like with the world. I mean, these are more boutique items. Like I'm not expecting this thing to go out. I don't think they're expecting this thing to go out and sell 5 to 10 million units for it. But like,
No.
it is kind of a thing of like how much are you going to invest into putting games and things on these? If you're only expecting to sell a couple million of these, probably. So I don't know.
Right.
I kind of saw that. I'm surprised by that. I heard there was like all this stuff was like kind of leaked and there were rumors about it last week with all this information. But yeah, the controller I'm definitely okay. I'm like that looks pretty cool. But yeah, like the Steam machine itself, like I don't know. Like I've a lot of people like trying to compare this as like are they like are they going to take over PlayStation or Xbox? And I don't think that's gonna be the case. I'm sure Valve would love that if that was the case. I don't think that's necessarily what they're going for either. Or like I think the Steam Deck is a major success for them. I believe it's sold over
Yes.
10 million units, but this is something they only sell through their service. Like they don't, you can't go to the store and buy these things. So it is like the market share, like people know about this thing is very limited. Like even like my dad who plays games on his PC all the time, but he's usually playing like Warzone and stuff like that. But he has Steam and
Yeah.
stuff. He opens Steam every day, and he has no idea what a Steam Deck is. It's like when I told him I was buying it, I explained to him what it is. And like your mom and pop, like your normal like mom, dads, and grandmas and stuff like that. They're not gonna know what the damn thing is. So, but I think that
Mm.
will also be able to help with the price point as well because the fact that they're not having to split this with retailers, which could be good because I've heard some people like, oh, this is gonna be crazy expensive, and it could be. I mean, it could be $1,000 or so. But I hope they're able to keep it in like in that $600-700
Oh
frame
man.
because that would be awesome.
If
'Cause-
they Yeah, if they do that, that's gonna take off like no one's business, dude. That's gonna be very hot to go try to go through and maintain. Like if it's just a little bit more expensive than Steam OLED, like say if it's like $700 or $750 or something like that, there will be people that bite at that price,
yeah,
even if it's like crazy, as long as it's under a grand,
yeah.
like just
Yeah, and like, yeah, like I mean, it's gonna sell out pretty quickly. I imagine initially, like the Steam Deck was hard to get for a long time, but it is like even someone like me that's like the most. Like I think it's like if they can get to the part where like there's people like us that are like casual PC players, I think that's the audience that like they really are hoping to get. Like the people that like the hardcore gamers like
right.
us, but that are aware of all these things, but we're more console gamers. I think if they can get a good chunk of people like us, like someone like me ever buy, like you would have told Tyler 5 years ago you're gonna own a Steam Deck, like he would like fuck off. I never would believe you. Now I'm like, to me it's just like I just prefer. I have a 75-inch TV and I have a really nice couch I want to sit on. I want to play games in that thing. And it's like buying a Steam Deck, playing it docked. I don't know, like playing it docked. Like I for doing that, but the dock setup is just a fucking pain in the ass sometimes. So iffy on whether or not it works. But like the way I look at it, especially with it being kind of more of an open platform, it's like with a new like if I can with Game Pass like hook up Game Pass on that damn thing, get Game Pass set up on that, and I can install the games on there, and have a Steam Deck or have my Steam machine that also plays my Xbox first party games. I have no need for fucking Xbox at that point. The next Xbox, and if like cool, like next generation, 5 years from now, I have a Steam machine, Nintendo Switch 2 in say 3 years from now, the next consoles come out and I'm just buying the PS6 and I have a Steam machine. Like that would be perfect for me. And it's like I could play my first party games and I can play all the great games on Steam as well. That like there's all these indie games that come over to the Steam. That's one of the major reasons that, like I jumped on. It's like I see all these great indie games and like they never come to the consoles or they come like a year or two later, and it's like that bums me out. So like playing games like Mega Bonk this year is like that game is so much fun. I put a ton of hours in that on my Steam Deck. It's like I love that game, and it's like so hopefully that game comes to console soon because that game is phenomenal. But anyways, I think it's great. And like,
Actually, for Megabonk, if speaking of Megabonk, it actually did release on PlayStation not that long ago.
did it fucking really?
It
Oh
did.
no, don't tell me that, Gables. I'm looking it up. Are you fucking
Look
serious?
it up.
Are you
There was a Megabonk that did release on PlayStation.
Oh, sorry for the silence here. I'm not seeing it, Gables.
Hmm.
You sure?
Let me double check just to make sure, though. But I could swear that I did see something on the equivalent of
I
like
see Ultra
Megabonk.
Bonk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I see a game called Ultra Bonk. That's all I see.
Ultra Bonk.
God
Okay,
damn,
that
I was like,
must be a. Oh, damn. I thought that was Megabonk for a
no,
moment
man,
there.
no, God, when that game comes to consoles or Switch or something like that, Gables is gonna be, it's gonna be bad for Gables. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But yeah, that game was a ton of fun. So like, I don't know, I look forward to like this coming out. Like, I still feel like I'm gonna be like a console player first. I never foresee myself jumping over fully to being a PC gamer. But like, this is just like like I said, like getting someone like Gables and I to get into the Valve and the Steam universe is like, and not be like we're gonna go here first to buy our games. Like I'm still gonna buy like
Hmm.
the big AAA games. I still will probably buy on my PlayStation because it's probably PlayStation 5 is probably gonna be more powerful than the Steam machine. It sounds like, and I'm still gonna play like the bigger games on there, but like the indie games, the smaller games, stuff like that, like or like games that are exclusive
Hmm.
to like or like you can only really get on your PC. And like I said, having like the ability to get Game Pass on there as well, like that's a win. Like I'll quickly be like, all right, cool. I have no need to get an Xbox anymore. So yeah, not honestly, that'd be that to be able to do that. That'd be a win as well. Because like well,
Yeah.
I could play the Xbox first party games and I don't have to pay full price for them. I can still I can still get Game Pass. Hell yeah. So but yeah, I'm excited for this feature with gaming. It's just kind of crazy that like in 2026 we're looking at like I don't like I said I don't think it's gonna be a takeover. I still think they're gonna be a distant fourth as far as like if you're gonna put these in the and they make this the fourth category for home consoles. But like I don't know, it's good.
Yes.
It's gonna I think it's good as well because it's gonna make the other people PlayStation and Xbox and even Nintendo maybe to certain circumstance where like look at that like oh okay maybe like light a little ass light a little fire under their ass. That's always good. We need that. We need to have that, especially as it seems like the gap with Xbox is getting further and further behind everybody else. So, but Gilles, before we jump into what we've been playing here, I have some fun, some other news this week, but it's all like sales information here. So,
Oh,
although
okay.
one other thing before we get the sales here, Pokemon Poca Pia, Gilles, did you see the trailer for this thing? It's coming out March 5th, and they announced like 4 new Pokemon. Pikachu,
I
there's
didn't
a dead Pikachu.
see Mimikyu?
No, there's a dead Pikachu.
There's a
It's like
dead Pikachu.
it's like a
No, I
ghost
didn't see
type
that.
Pikachu. Yeah. It's like
No.
Pichu. You have to look it up. Pikachu, I can't remember. It's like basically like it looks like Pikachu, but he's like ghostly.
What's a
Um,
peekaboo?
yeah, no, that would have been actually way smarter. Um, but yeah, that's coming out March 5th. It is $70, and it will be there'll be a key card. The game will not be on the.
That's the biggest controversy I've heard from that initial thing. It's like people will not stop talking about the key card stuff. This is a first party Nintendo game that Nintendo themselves weren't trying to put like the first party games like on key card stuff. And guess what? Not even a year since this console's launch, and there you go. There's a first party game on key card. So
Yeah,
you don't fully own the damn game.
yeah. So yeah, you might as well almost at
Oh.
this point. It's gonna be just a digital device. Um, some other some sales stuff we have here though. Ghost of Yotei in its first month sold 3.3 million units, so off to a solid start. I believe the only information we have is like Ghost of Tsushima sold 5 million in 3 months, so seems like
Mhm.
it's maybe on pace with that. PS5 did pass 84 million units. It is ahead of where the PS4 was at this point in time. Um, Switch 2 is at 10.36 million units, with Mario
Wow.
Kart World selling 9.57 million units. So
Okay.
about 800,000 people own a Switch 2 but don't own Mario Kart World, which obviously you got the vast majority of the Switch 2s that were sold came with the Mario Kart bundle. But it's interesting. Like it's kind of, I'm curious. I would like to see the split though. Of like was it 20%, 30%? How many consoles were without Mario Kart? Some other information here. Donkey Kong Bonanza sold 3.5 million units. So pretty good. Not bad. Especially with the console that's it's basically about a third of people that own a Switch 2 have bought Donkey Kong. And then Pokemon Legends EA is past 6 million units. That is on both consoles though, so you got to keep that in mind as
Yes.
well. So much bigger. I'm a little surprised though. I thought honestly, I thought it'd be a little higher, just because usually we're so used to like them selling like 10 million in its first weekend. I do wonder if maybe it is a combination of new console and people don't want to buy a game on the old one maybe as well. So I think that's a big part of it. So I don't know.
I don't know exactly the main like a reason that would be behind it and stuff like that, but if it's split between two different versions and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, they could attempt that could like affect sales to some aspects of it, but I think it's because in terms of like say production and like effort put into it, I don't think that I don't think there's a lot more people are going to invest inside of this one in terms of the initial story whatsoever, as opposed to the last game, Pokemon Legends Arceus, to where it just kind of felt like a bit more fresh.
Mm,
But it also could be because the thing's not a mainline Pokemon game as well. And we always are seeing like with mainline Pokemon games, despite the quality of the game itself, will still sell like over 10 plus million.
yeah, yeah. I think like every mainline Pokemon game on the Switch past 20 million. As far like brand new
Yeah.
ones, like some of the remakes did not. I think like what was it, the Gen 4 remakes did not sell 20 million, but like I think it's still like 14,
No.
15. So it was like a disappointment at all. So
No,
um
absolutely not.
yeah. But Gables, let's move on to what we've been playing, buddy. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You know what? I'll go first because of the fact that I've only really been playing one game this past week,
Okay.
and I know it's gonna be surprising for you to hear this and stuff, but I actually have been playing a little bit more of Fortnite
Oh,
and
what
stuff
the
on my off
fuck?
time.
What?
I know, right? And it's not just like for like the zero build stuff because I have been doing the zero build stuff inside of the initial thing around Springfield. I think this season actually finally locked me into wanting to play Fortnite because I've been playing that in terms of the zero build stuff. I actually did get a couple of top five, like Matt, that just being in the top five or like in the top 15 or something like that. But I've been mostly spending my time in that rock band
Oh
mode,
my god.
like dude. Out of all the things to really like get me hooked into it, it's just going through and playing different songs on like the medium difficulty for vocals and stuff. Either it's like DMX or Pat Benatar or whatever the fuck, and like just the familiarity of these older songs that are there from like say Red Hot Chili Peppers, Green Day, and stuff, and like just like Rage Against the Machine, Beastie Boys, Sabotage, like all these tracks that I know, and then earning all this different experience and stuff through the season pass stuff and just leveling up and stuff. I'm already at like level 42 for the
Jesus
season
Christ.
pass
My
because
god.
I've been playing those damn songs over and over. I've been spending like about a few hours playing that stuff as
Oh my god.
combination of that's kind of weird. Anyway, I was just hearing a bunch of like rain going on outside and just kind of
Okay.
threw me off here. I don't know if it's that or my brother's taking a piss in the other room, but it's oh my god, that was just such a weird thing that just happened just now. But anyways, I've been playing I've been playing the bit of the Fortnite. I'm still been using the Joker skin and stuff like that, which I think is really hilarious because it kind of has like sort of that meme influence to it. So where here I am, I'm like playing as the Joker. I'm literally just waiting till like the last people like just just eliminate each other and stuff, and I'm like automatically in the top five. Or my brother was using the bathroom.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
oh, oh my god. But anyways, I've had a couple top 5 finishes. I've not done a lot of the quest stuff for inside of like Springfield and stuff, but I have gotten at least 4 of them completed out of the 13. But I've been mostly just doing the unlocks. So I've actually gone forth and I've unlocked Flanders, and I'm pretty
Nice.
close to unlocking the full-on super sexy, like stupid sexy Flanders and stuff. Oh my god! But yeah, I've been really enjoying my time because I've been not only doing the music stuff in between, like wanting to, in between like different things like throughout the week, but just discovering bits of how you can upgrade your different weapons and this and that, and then just trying to see what type of pattern certain people will take. Like, for example, there was one match and stuff to where when I was in the top 5 and stuff, I basically scattered around the area of the map and stuff and took out some a bit of stragglers and stuff and got some of their good weapons and then try in towards the middle. And then the only time I got eliminated from this out of the top 5 for one thing is because I dived into the water at the same time another player did, and they just started jumping out of the water and shooting me and all this other
Yeah.
crap. And so I was trying to do
Oh.
that stuff. I'm like, really? But yeah, I think the Simpsons season has been really effective. Not in terms of like the amount of quality that they put into this map. Every bit's of detail in terms of the Simpsons town, in terms of the characters. You have all these various NPCs like Ned Flanders. You have like Marge and stuff, and there's other types of NPCs there. There's all sorts of various nods to certain episodes too. The Jebediah Springfield stuff, I think it was really hilarious because just cutting off his head, getting perks from like wearing the helm, just wearing the statue stuff on your head, or just getting a bunch of Krusty Burgers or something like that, and just feeding on that and stuff. There's just so much fun for someone that's really like was into a lot of the hardcore like Simpsons stuff way back when. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing this week.
That's funny. I about my voice is almost gone. When I yelled what, it killed my throat. So I do apologize for that. But Gables, that one's on you. Um, sorry. I've only been playing. I've been playing a couple games this week. I'm about 20 hours now into Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. Um,
Hmm.
I'm pretty close to the end. I looked up about where I'm at, and I would say I think I've only got like 5 or 6 like story missions left. So if I really wanted to, I could
Yeah,
probably knock them out in a few hours. But I'm still having a good enough time. Like I feel like they give you enough like new characters. And some of them are kind of like reskins of like other kind of characters. Like they're not too much of a difference. But excuse me. But like I'm having a good enough time still. Like they've thrown enough in there of like changing up the like you're still mostly just tapping X and Y a lot,
yeah,
and that's a game for you. But like it's still
that's the
enough.
Muso
Like
games for you.
yeah, but it's like yeah, it's like the fact that it runs so much better, and like I'm actually intrigued by the story, and it does help that like yeah, they're just kind of following there's kind of like tying in the gaps in between the cutscenes from Tears of the Kingdom that explain like the story of when Zelda goes back in time. And that's the whole game of the whole point of this game. But it's like, all right, I'm intrigued enough by this. And it's like, as long as you don't like, it's not like the greatest story ever made, but it's like like I said, I'm
Right.
intrigued enough, and I like the like I like the Rauru and the character Sonia and all these characters enough that like I'm invested in like this story, which more than I thought I would for a Muso game. Like I said, the combat is fun enough. They do enough like they have enough like powers and stuff like that. It's just kind of like a little more enough strategy to kind of like change things up a little bit and like add it where you're using a lot more of like elements to your ability, like using like bringing in like fire and water and stuff like that abilities into the battles. Um, so yeah, and like even like I don't feel like I'm getting overly bombarded by side quests. Although there was one
Right.
point, Gables, I clipped it. And I gotta send it to you. Of I finished a story mission, and just the amount of like things that just popped on the map. Well, I just started cackling to myself because like how stupid it was. I'll send it to you. I meant to send it to you earlier. I recorded it was like a full like 30 seconds of just like dropping things like pins on the map for you to do. Um, and there's definitely that times where I'm like, okay, this is insane. So I'm still like, I'm not doing all the side quests anymore. Like I was there for a while. I'm doing like some of them are like, there are like ones that are like, all right, you got to take like, cause like there are broken off into sections, the map. And it's like, all right, you do this mission. Like they have like a glow over them. And that means you'll liberate that area and you could take it back from Ganon. And some of them like oh you have to like do this in within like 4 missions, otherwise you lose this area. So like I'm doing those ones, but like the ones that are not like I need to do them right now, like I'm not uh no, not wanting to do those ones right now. So some will look at the resources like you get for you beat them, like okay that's worth it. But like even the one like they're like 2 to 5 minutes long, so they're not even like they don't take that long to do. So it's not like they're
Right.
as like and even like the story mission ones are like 15 to 20 minutes, and that's if like I'm gonna go and like I'm gonna take over all the camps. I'm gonna do all this. I'm gonna like try to maximize the all the my abilities and like try to get as many XP points as I can. But I like it. I'm it's definitely like I'm not hate playing through it like I was the last one, and like the
Yeah.
game is fun. I do enjoy it, and it is like if you're someone that likes like you're interested in this world and you like the Muso games enough, like I think you'll enjoy this. Like I'm someone that does not give a shit about Muso games that like Dynasty Wars. I will never play. I have zero interest playing those games, but like I was a big fan of the first one. The second one was just really bad, and lied about the marketing. And this one is fun enough. So I like it quite a bit. The other one I've been playing, I've been kind of waiting on it because like it's sometimes it's kind of weird to talk about these kind of games. But I did play through and finish up Dispatch. Um,
Oh.
yeah, so been playing through it like so. I'm a big fan of these style games. This is like former Telltale people as well, and people have been listening for a long time. Maybe like I've been a huge fan. I think I played every Telltale thing except for the Minecraft one, going back to like Walking Dead season 1. And I've even like played some of the spin-off stuff like Life is Strange. I love those type of games. But like I was a little concerned with it, and like sometimes it's kind of hard with these games where it's like they're episodic and like they're not dropping all at once, or they're whatever. And like this one, but I do like I was a little concerned at first when they announced they're only doing 2 episodes. But what they did was they did 2 episodes a week for 4 weeks. So there's 8 episodes.
Hmm.
So and each episode's like 45, 50 minutes. Some of the details might be a little wrong here. They were originally making this for like Netflix when like Netflix was really big on like the interactive stuff. Like you can like do the interactive and like choose your like almost like choose your own adventure type thing. And then they canceled it at some point and they kind of pivoted to making it a full-fledged video game. Not I shouldn't say full-fledged, but putting it on consoles instead. And like it still is like mostly an anime with like every now and again like you make a handful of like decisions a game, but like there is actually like a dispatch game in there, like mini game in there. But I will say Gables, as far as like any entertainment I played this year, video games, movies, TVs, whatever, whatever you want to call it, this is probably my favorite thing I've experienced this year. This would be one of my favorite singular seasons of a television show ever made. I was so immediately fell in love with all these characters. So immediately fell like the art style, the art design, the humor of this game. And it's not like I will say I was surprised like how adult this game like you see full on dick in the first like 10 minutes of this game. Like it's not like overly like sexual or crazy, like there's not like hardcore stuff going on, but I will surprised there is like full frontal nudity. There's a couple boob scenes in the game. Like there's a lot of cussing and stuff like that, but I was shocked by like how far they go with some of the stuff. But it is legitimately one of the funniest like written television shows. I know it's a game technically, but like this kind of is really like a television show. Like I'm gonna call it that mostly, but like one of the most best written, funniest things I've ever watched, played, whatever. So many times like just laughing out loud. Watch this. There's at one point I was laughing so hard, my belly. I was like doing like the guttural laugh, and like I was holding my stomach. I was in so much pain from laughing that I dropped my controller and I had to restart the sequence over again because I dropped my controller and I missed all the button prompts. So I had to like redo this whole section, but it was like so fucking fun. And then like I've since then I've rewatched that entire scene over again on YouTube multiple times and still laugh about it. Like episode 5 is maybe one of my favorite individual episodes of TV ever made. It is so good. Like I believe you can actually go in and like you can go into the settings and just turn off all you can skip like all the button prompts, and then like you can still make the decisions, but like you can just basically watch like a TV show. But Gibbs, I honestly think like you like this. Like it is just a really well written like animated game. And I was there's a couple buddies of mine that were playing through it, and like every week we talk about it. I waited till like I think the first 4 episodes were out, and I played through those. So it's like I've really only been playing over a couple weeks. But every week we've been talking about it, and like this whole time I'm like, honestly, I hope they just like because now they're talking about making a season 2. It seems like it's They sold over 1 million copies in the first like week, I believe. And so it seems like it's very successful for what they want it to be. And my opinion is like, I don't want a season 2 of the game. I want someone to pick it up as a TV show and they just make it a show. And like, if they could just make it a show and just give me the dispatch, the mini game, and just make it like a game, I will pay $20-$30 for the game itself. Like the dispatch part of the game is like, it's like, honestly, my biggest complaint with it is I just want, like, each episode's like 45-50 minutes, and I'd say like 30%, 40% of each episode is the dispatch part, and then the rest of it is animated, is the animated parts of the of the show. And honestly, my biggest complaint is like, I just want more of both. Like if I could just get a 45-minute show and then just like they kind of, I don't want like a 30-hour game of the dispatching, but if they just made me like a fun dispatch game, I would play the hell out of that. Like, I just love the resource management of like, you have like, the kind of the story is, I've been gushing forever. The story is like, you play as Robert, who, like, in a world of like people with powers, you don't actually have powers, but you like you're mecha band, so you have this like the suit that when you're like you're a legendary superhero, and the suit gets destroyed. This is like the first few minutes of the game, and so you basically have to retire. And what they have is like basically supervillains that have been captured. They get turned into like they end up working for like the SDN, is what they're called, and basically he becomes a dispatcher and he gets what's called the Z team, and it's like basically not the worst of the worst supervillains, but like the most like just the shittiest. Like, they're unreliable, they just kind of suck, they have the worst attitudes. Like every dispatcher they give them quits within a week because they're just assholes to them. They're just like, they're not really good at like what that, like, even being supervillains. They're just kind of shitty at everything they do. And like, he takes over this team, and you have like kind of like, it's like you learning these characters. All the people on your team are fucking hilarious. Punch Up is one of my favorite characters and like ever written. Like, he's the one that's like throughout the game has just been killing me the most with some of his dialogue. He's just like a short, like little short guy, but like he's like super strong. He just punch everybody in the dick. It's so fucking funny. But so like you basically like you get like people call like almost like a 911 thing, and you get some context clues, and each character has like there's like charisma, vigor, mobility, combat, and like they all have like almost like a skill tree. They all have like their own things they're better at and good at. And some missions you can only send one, sometimes you can send up to 4. But the problem is like it's all timing based, so like it takes them a certain amount of time to get there and then come back, and there's a rest period for each call. So sometimes even though you can send 4, you don't want to send 4 because you only got like 6 to 8 people in your crew here. So you want to like, it's kind of like, it's a resource management type of thing. And sometimes if you send the wrong people out, you could fail those missions. And then like if they succeed in those missions, they get XP, they level up, and you can level up their skills and stuff like that. But like I was having so much fun with that. Like I said, my biggest complaint honestly is just like I wasn't getting enough of either one. I wanted more of both. So like every time a new thing came out, like, there was like times where I was kind of scared to play it because like I didn't want. It took me a few days to play the last 2 episodes because I was like, I don't want it to be over. Like they dropped on Wednesday, and I was just like, my friends had beaten it, and I was like, I want to talk to them about it so bad, but it's like, I don't want it to be over. I don't want to I don't want I don't want to say goodbye to these characters. So I'm hoping that there is like a season 2, or preferably they just convert this and they just kind of blow it up a little bit more and turn it into an actual TV show and just make a show. And for a perfect world, just turn this to a TV show, goes on for like 5 seasons, and give me a dispatch game, like a little 5-6 hour long game, or put it on the mobile. I'll play free to play. I don't care. I'll give you money for it. I don't fucking care. But like, this is, like I said, this is one of my favorite. Like Invincible is like probably one of my favorite shows of all time, and this is on the level of Invincible. And like, I'm not even someone that, like, Gables knows me. Anime like stuff is not my thing. Like, I don't like anime at all. I don't like any of that kind of stuff. But like Invincible and like Dispatch are like on like 2 of my favorite things ever made for like television entertainment. So yeah, like big time recommend. I think it's like $30. But yeah, my God, I absolutely love it's. Like I said, it is so well written. It is so fucking funny. I love every character is phenomenal. The twists and the turns. I was like, every decision I made was kind of like some of them. Like I'd say there's a couple each episode where I'm just like, ooh, like I actually had to pause it and think about it. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen here if I do this? So like I kind of want to go and check out like the other options and like kind of see like the branches that could have went. If I were to pick it up, part of me also kind of wants to just replay it over again, just do the opposite, do another playthrough. But like, yeah, man, oh my god, I loved it. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. One of the best games of the year. This will be very high up on my game of the year list. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it this week, guys. If you guys like the show, like what we're doing, please like, follow, subscribe. We do have a membership on the YouTube channel, just $1 a month. Just say we like what we're doing, support us that way. But if you can go over subscribe, wherever you're at, whatever podcast service, 5 stars, likes, thumbs up, follows, whatever. We really would appreciate it. But I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
Nate Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.